In 2367, the Indian Space Agency is on high alert as an unidentified spaceship hurtles toward the Earth. The 11th Doctor assembles a team to investigate, including the legendary Queen Nefertiti, a big game hunter named Riddle, and Amy, Rory, and Rory's father Brian. Materializing aboard the mystery ship, they're surprised to find it populated by dinosaurs. With time running out before the ship is blasted out of the sky, the Doctor must confront a vicious criminal named Solomon, as the lives of his companions and the dinosaurs hang in the balance. Welcome, friends and companions! Sci-Fi and fantasy fans meet on this channel for fun chats about their beloved books, movies, series, and franchises. We also talk about food and drinks, music and sport, and especially a special place on this channel for Doctor Who. Uh, so, we are random because we do all sorts of random entertainment. Yeah. Um, I have a Discord server that is called Random Entertainment Channel, tag Doctor Who, and you find me very quick because I bump this server very regularly. And so today we have an 11th Doctor story called Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. First, some general info about this story. So, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship was the second episode of Series 7 of Doctor Who. Uniquely, this adventure played host to a gang of TARDIS travelers rather than just the Puns, with Queen Nefertiti and John Riddell from off-screen adventures of the 11th Doctor joining. Brian Williams was introduced as Rory's father. This episode marks the first appearance of dinosaurs since the 1974 story Invasion of the Dinosaurs. Pterodactyls had featured in the previous season TV story The Wedding of River Song and multiple episodes of Torchwood, but are not actual dinosaurs. Okay, we will now dive into the plot. So, if you haven't watched or listened to this story, I highly recommend you to do that first, and then you can tune in. So, there we go. The Doctor has saved Egypt from giant alien locusts and is trying to return to its TARDIS. However, Queen Nefertiti, attracted to the Doctor, stops him and tries to get his attention. The Doctor receives a message on the psychic's paper, telling her that it is unimportant. He learns that the Indian Space Agency needs his help. He is forced to take Neffy with him, and she has forced her way into the TARDIS despite Doctor's protests. Arriving in the 24th century, the Doctor is informed of a spaceship coming closer to Earth that has failed to respond to any of ISA's attempts to communicate. If it gets within 10,000 kilometers of Earth, they will send up missiles to destroy it. So, the Doctor decides he should investigate the ship before the ISA intend to destroy it. Just in case there are aliens that cannot communicate either due to primitive technology or not understanding Earth's languages. Realizing this would be too much for just him and Neffy, the Doctor decides to head to Africa in the early 20th century. He meets his old friend John Riddle, a game hunter he left behind after saying he was leaving to get some sweets. Riddle initially refuses to join the Doctor on another trip, but gives in when he learns it's a mystery to even him. In the 21st century London, Rory has his father Brian Williams over to help fix a light bulb. After saying the fixture may be the problem, Brian reminds Rory he is lucky to have Amy. Amy finds this amusing. As Brian continues working on the light, the sound of the TARDIS materialization is heard. Brian thinks perhaps they have left the door open. The door materializes around them, shocking Brian in place while the Doctor greets Amy and Rory. They all travel in the TARDIS to the mystery spacecraft. The Doctor tells everyone to grab a torch as they head outside. As they head out, Amy questions the Doctor about what he's up to this time. The Doctor explains that he decided that he needed a group this time. Brian exits the TARDIS and the Doctor, finally noticing him, questions him with hostility. Rory explains that Brian is his father, whom the Doctor inadvertently brought on board when he materialized the TARDIS around him. This calms the Doctor, whom Brian seems not to have met. The Doctor greets Brian and walks off with Amy. Nefertiti and Riddell leaving Rory the job of telling Brian what's going on. Annoyed that it's always his turn, Rory explains to his confused father that he and Amy honeymooned throughout time and space aboard the TARDIS, not in Thailand, as he had previously told him. In the meantime, the presence of Neffy and Riddell has led Amy to believe that the Doctor has replaced her and Rory as his traveling companions during the gap between his last visit. The Doctor tells Amy that it's not the case. They're not the Puns. He cherishes the bond between them, plus their family. Rory and Brian catch up to the group as the doors in front of them begin opening. Seeing what's coming out of the other side, the Doctor tells everyone to run. However, he has to be pulled away by Amy because he's gleefully surprised to find dinosaurs on a spaceship. Hiding as the dinosaurs go past, the Doctor keeps Riddell from trying to harm them as they need to be preserved. Riddell surely jokes in return, who's gonna preserve us? In turn, they run into a Triceratops that sniffs Brian, forcing him to toss away of the golf balls he keeps in his pocket to make it leave. The Doctor then examines the ship, discovering an interactive monitor. The Doctor asks to be shown where the engines are on the map, saying they need to get to them. He, Brian, and Rory vanish in a flash of light, and Amy is left annoyed. The Doctor, Rory, and Brian arrive on the shore of a rocky beach. Seeing birds in distance, Brian wonders if they are kestrels. Having an epiphany, the Doctor orders them to dig. Brian complies, producing a trowel from his pocket. Rory is surprised, but his dad tells him to put a trowel on the Christmas list. When Rory protests he's too old to have Christmas list, the Doctor retorts that he has one despite being centuries old. The Doctor then runs off to look at rocks, with Rory calling after him. As well, a man sees them on the monitor. He becomes interested when he hears one of them referred to as the Doctor. He orders that they be brought to him. Brian hits metal while digging, becoming shocked. They're actually still in the ship. The Doctor reveals a monitor in a rock face, explaining the ship's engines are powered by the waves. An endless supply of power. He said they needed to go to the engine room, and the ship complied with its short-range teleporter. Brian is left dumbfounded, with Rory trying to explain. However, the Doctor cuts them off while asking, what about the things that aren't kestrels? They turn around to see many pteranodon flying at them. The Doctor yells that he would be amazed if he wasn't being targeted as food. Brian suggests using the teleport, but the Doctor tells him it is fried out upon their arrival. Upon entering the cave, there are heavy footsteps approaching them. The doctor panics, going back and forth, wondering which threat they should face. He asks Brian and Rory if they have any preferences, but their fears are then partially relieved when the footsteps are revealed to belong to two large robots. The robots demand that the trio come with them. Elsewhere, Amy, Nefertiti, and Riddell explore the ship, with Nefertiti questioning Amy about the doctor, saying she found her husband boring. Amy subtly hints the doctor is married, but Neffy doesn't seem to catch on. The lack of a crew confuses them all, with Neffy suggesting a plague killed them, while Riddell believes the dinosaurs were responsible. Amy tells the Chuckle brothers to lighten up. Investigating a room, Amy overhears Neffy and Riddell continue arguing. When Riddell threatens to strike Neffy, she responds with the same bravado. Riddell is impressed with the Spitfires, like Neffy in her time. Annoyed, Amy tells the two that she will not be having flirting companions. Now she knows what being the doctor is like. Seeing a computer, Amy begins fiddling with the controls. She finds an orb and inserts it into the computer. The first rule of traveling with a doctor: see a strange device, start pressing buttons, and don't stop until you get results. Getting a fuzzy picture on the screen, Amy smacks the monitor and clears up the image. To her shock, she learns that the spaceship belongs to the Silurians. They launched it when the moon was coming into alignment with Earth, fearing a cataclysm might result. The ship is akin to Noah's Ark. In the meantime, the Doctor, Rory, and Brian are brought to a smaller spaceship docked with this one. However, only the Doctor is allowed inside. He finds a man named Solomon laying on a bed and listening to Fantasia in F minor. The Doctor brags he was the second set of hands playing the music. The Doctor is briefly startled by a flash of violet light, which Solomon passes off as a malfunction. Solomon explains his legs were badly mauled by raptors, and the robots could only do so much to treat him. Realizing Solomon has mistaken him for a medical doctor, the doctor offers assistance in exchange for being told how he came by the ship's worth of dinosaurs. In response, Brian is given a painful laser burn by one of the robots as a warning. The doctor proceeds to work on getting Solomon mobile again, while Rory tends to his father's burn. Brian is surprised that Rory keeps a medical supply pack with him. Rory responds that it's a habit of their family to keep tools with them. Back in the archive room, Amy asks the monitor to display life signs of Silurians but gets nothing. Amy then compares this image with one on the day the ship launched, discovering there were numerous Silurians on board. She wonders what happened to them. She then asks the doctor to zoom in at the core of the ship, discovering that it's been boarded before by Solomon. Riddell picks up a nearby gun, explaining it's full of tranquilizer. He tells Neffy that she needs a man of action in her life before taking off to search for the doctor. Neffy, now infatuated with Riddell, is told by Amy, human, sleeping potion, or walking innuendo. Take your pick. In Solomon's ship, the doctor finishes adding braces to help with healing Solomon's injuries. He wonders why Solomon is here and learns that he is a trader that wants to sell the dinosaurs, but is heading in the wrong direction. The doctor then realizes that the flash of light was an IV system, trying to figure out how much he's worth. To the doctor's relief and Solomon's confusion, there is no record available to reveal how much he's worth. At that moment, Rory receives a call from Amy and is told to give the phone to the doctor. Amy informs him that the Silurians built a ship, but there are no life signs of them. The doctor questions Solomon on what happened to them. Solomon explains they rescued his ship, but when he found out there were dinosaurs on board, he attempted to do business. But when the Silurians refused, He tossed them into space along with the ones in hibernation. The Doctor quickly deduces that Solomon cannot control this so-called arc of the Silurians. His attempt to do so made it autopilot head for Earth, its launching point. The Doctor explains that the ESA will soon be launching missiles. The greedy Solomon believes the Doctor is lying and wants to dinosaurs for himself. Exiting Solomon's cockpit, the Doctor tells the two dim-witted robots that their boss wants to see them. The Doctor tells Rory and Brian to run as two robots ask Solomon why he wanted to see them. Realizing that the Doctor has tricked them, Solomon orders his lackeys to go after him. So the Doctor, Rory, and Brian encounter the same Triceratops from earlier, which the Doctor names Tricy and boards it back. The Doctor tries getting Tricy to by using verbal comments used for horses but fails. Brian quickly deduces the same method they used to get rid of Tricy before it can be used again, tossing his remaining golf ball away to make it run. Robots follow after them, unable to go faster than a walking pace, shooting lasers at them until Tracy turns a corner and loses them. The robots are annoyed. They used to be faster, but all this time on the ship has rusted them. The Doctor then wonders how they are going to stop as Tri-C is closing in on the wall. They fall off and have a hard landing. The ESA contacts the ship and the Doctor answers via the monitor. He claims to be able to turn the ship around with a precious cargo on board. However, the head of the ESA, Indira, refuses to listen to the Doctor and informs him that the missiles will be launched within a few minutes. The Doctor, Rory, and Brian try finding the TARDIS so they can collect Amy, Riddell, and Nefertiti before coming up with a new plan. However, Solomon finds them with the security cameras and teleports to their location with his clumsy robots. Solomon explains that his ship has detected the missiles, saying the Doctor wasn't lying. Solomon then explains his scanner found something just as valuable as the dinosaurs, and he is amazed that the Doctor has been able to procure this item. He demands that Nefertiti be handed over to him, as he can't fit a dinosaur in his ship. When the Doctor refuses, Solomon has Tracy shot and killed to prove he's serious. Amy, Riddell, and Nefertiti arrive with the teleporter. Nefi willingly goes with Solomon to ensure the safety of everyone else. Solomon then has them teleported back to his ship, preparing to leave. So, the Doctor quickly leads everyone to the control room, explaining that Solomon couldn't control the ship because the Silurians designed it to require two pilots who share similar DNA. Brian offers to pilot the ship with Rory, since they are father and son. They share similar DNA. The Doctor has them sit down in the control chairs and tells them how to work the controls. He orders Riddell to guard the room against anything that might attack them. Riddell complies. The Doctor then opens the part of the console and begins fiddling with the wiring. He asks Amy to talk to him as he works better than multitasking. Amy expresses her fear that his visits are becoming farther and farther apart. One day he might never show up. However, the Doctor quickly comforts Amy by explaining that he'll always come to see them. He also learns that Amy quit her job after the last meeting, in part because she never knows when he'll show up again. The doctor takes a glowing green orb from inside, where he's been fiddling with the controls, telling Amy he's going to teleport to Solomon's ship to conduct phase 1, saying phase 2 has been completed. Amy corrects him, explaining 2 comes after 1, but gets laughter in return. Doctor says that while humans are always linear about planning, he is not. Riedel returns, stating that guarding the control room is a two-man job. Amy takes a gun, stating that she's easily worth to 2 men, but Riedel can help as well. Amy joins him outside the room as a group of raptors close in. They shoot the electric tranquilizers into the dinosaurs several times, knocking them out. Riedel expresses interest in taking a dinosaur tooth back with him as a souvenir from the adventure as they continue knocking out the dinosaurs. At the Indian Space Agency, one of the staff notices that the ship has turned around. However, Indira doesn't care. The missiles are still going to hit it. In the control room, Brian is laughing with joy as he's piloting a spaceship full of dinosaurs. In the meantime, Solomon has realized the doctor has magnetized his alluring arc to prevent his ship from leaving. Just as the doctor appears behind him and short circuits the robots to prevent them from assisting. Solomon tells the doctor that he will not let go of such valuable item, offending Nefertiti, who knocks him down. As Nefi pins Solomon to the ground with his crutch, Doctor jokes not to mess with Egyptian queens, preparing to take Nefi back to the Ark. The Doctor informs Solomon that he'll receive a consolation prize, the missiles meant for the Ark, and so he places the orb, which emits the signal the missiles are locked into, in Solomon's ship and teleports away with Nefi. The ship is demagnetized. Solomon screams in terror as his ship takes off and is hit by the missiles, exploding. At the same time, Rory and Brian pilot the ship away from Earth and into the emptiness of space. With the ship safely piloted into an empty area of space, the Doctor has the chance to take it and the dinosaurs to somewhere else in the universe where they can live on a new planet in peace. Preparing to take everyone back, Doc is told by Amy and Rory that they wish to return home. He accepts this. However, Brian asks Doctor for a favor before he takes him back home. Later, Brian enjoys his lunch sitting on the edge of the TARDIS doorway, looking down on the Earth. Amy and Rory look at him with smiles as the Doctor comes from behind and hugs them. Elsewhere, Riddell has been taken back to time and place the Doctor took him from. Only one thing is different. Nefertiti has decided to stay with him. Back in London, Rory is checking the light bulb Brian previously tried to fix, agreeing that his father was right. It might be the fixture. Amy enters, saying they got another bunch of postcards from Brian. She puts them on the fridge, showing that Brian has now taken to seeing the world. Amy and Rory stare at the last postcard before putting it on the fridge. It's of Siluria, the new home of the dinosaurs, which Brian and Doctor have just visited. And that, my friends and companions, is the end of the story Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. I will name some cast members. The Doctor is played by Matt Smith. Amy Plant is played by Karen Gillan. Rory Williams is played by Arthur Darvill. Riddell is played by Rupert Graves. Brian Williams is played by Mark Williams. Solomon is played by David Bradley. And Queen Nefertiti is played by Ryan Steele. Indira is played by Sunetra Sarkar. And yeah, that's our main some cast members. Okay. Some world building individuals. Brian used to be afraid of traveling to different places. Another thing is that Amy quits her job as a model. Rory states his age as 31, and the doctor keeps a Christmas list for Santa Claus. Some world building in culture, and that is Brian calls the doctor Arthur C. Clarke. And when the doctor disables Solomon's robots, they sing Daisy Bell. Another thing is that Amy says that Riddell needs a lesson in gender politics. Another thing is that Amy refers to Riddell and Nefertiti as the Chuckle Brothers. Some world building in locations. Solomon plans to sell the dinosaurs at the Roxborn Peninsula. Some world building in sports and hobbies. Brian enjoys golf and carries golf balls around with him. And he also carries around a gardening trowel. Some world building in technology is that the doctor's psychic paper is set to temporal newsfeed. It alert noise is a horn honking. Another thing is that Solomon uses an IV system, identity and value. The database of everything across space and time allocated as a market value. And another thing is that Rory uses an ice patch on Brian's burn. Some world building in species. Brian thinks the better doctors are orchestrals. And another thing is that the doctor implies that there are several species native to, or at least residing on the moon, although he may be joking. Another thing, world building in music, is that Doctor recognizes that the music being played by Solomon in his spacecraft is Fantasia in F minor for four hands by Franz Schubert. When asked if he knows it, the Doctor claims that he served as hands 3 and 4. He adds that Schubert kept tickling him to try to put him off. Some world building biology is that the Doctor jokes that Brian and Rory's habit of stating the obvious is hereditary. And last topic in world building's influences, the title was inspired by Snakes on the Plane. And John Riddell was inspired by Alan Quatermain, and robots sing Decibel as they shoot down in an homage Hell 9000's death scene in 2001 A Space Odyssey. Funnily enough, Brian sarcastically calls the Doctor Arthur C. Clarke. Some story notes. This episode received an appreciation index of 87. Another thing is that the Doctor claims to be Sagittarius, but qualifies this statement by adding, probably, interestingly enough, November 2023. The first air date of Doctor Who in 1963 falls during the time that Sagittarius is deemed by astrologers to be occupied by the Sun using the tropical astrological calendar. In the sidereal astrological calendar, the Sun was on the Libra-Scorpio border at the time of first airing. Another thing is that in a moment of excitement, the Doctor kisses Rory on the mouth after Rory suggests checking if the Silurian Ark has defense systems. This is second same-sex kiss featured in the series and first initiated by the Doctor. First kiss was between Captain Jack Harkness and the Ninth Doctor in TV story The Parting of the Ways. Rory previously kissed the Doctor, believing him to be Amy in the comic as time goes by. Unlike the previous on-screen same-sex kiss, this one was completely improvised by Matt Smith. For another thing is that for this episode, the Doctor Who logo's texture resembles scales like those of a dinosaur. It is also given a green hue. Mark Williams, who plays Brian Williams, previously played Maxwell Edison in audio story The Eternal Summer. Another thing is that the CGI models of the raptors are the same as those used in the show Primefall. Um, Another thing is that with this story, Rory became the only individual known to have traveled in the TARDIS with both his own parent and own child. Um, Chris Chibnall knew that this episode would be one of the last to feature Rory, so he wanted to explore Williams' family while he had the chance. Also, Chris Chibnall was keen to depict the Doctor adventuring with a gang. His other two members were original, both real historical figures, but only Nefertiti will be included in the final narrative. Nefertiti's involvement was appealing to Chris Chibnall because she debatably disappeared from the historical record with no clear evidence of the manner of her death. Consequently, Chibnall felt that Nefertiti could have possibly gone off traveling with the Doctor, ending her days elsewhere in space and time. Um, okay. Um, and the other thing is that as Asylum of the Dalek was a darker season premiere, Stephen Moffat wanted this episode to be more about fun. Another thing is that in Stephen Moffat's pitch to Chris Chibnall, he proposed maybe it's a ship heading towards Earth, and Earth is not Earth. Moffat suggested the spaceship was Silurian, and Chibnall felt that it was a nice reveal and shows you more about them, even a story that isn't really about them. So um, that's about some story notes and continuity. Very important because again and again, stories and episodes in some way relate to each other. To some extent, relate to each other. Reference to each other, link to each other, have our influence to each other. So some continuity, some things, interpretation. So Rory's mobile phone rings on the spaceship, and Brian is shocked by how it can work in space. On previous occasions, the Doctor has been shown to convert a mobile phone into a superphone. He's done this for Rose Tyler in the TV story The End of the World, Martha Jones in the TV story 42, and Donna Noble in the TV story The Doctor's Daughter. Second thing is the 10th Doctor previously took a companion's parent on a TARDIS trip by accident. You see that in the TV story Army of Ghosts. Another thing is that the Doctor has traveled with Egyptian royalty before. As his fifth incarnation, Empire Brown shared many adventures with the 14th century BC pharaoh Eridan. As an audio story, The Eye of the Scorpion et al. etc. And as is implied with Nefertiti, Erimem also ultimately ended up staying behind in another time and place, namely Peladon in the 41st century. See that audio story, The Bride of Peladon. A photo of Amy and Rory at their wedding appears on the fridge alongside Brian's postcards. Rory also mentions to Brian that he has been traveling with the doctor since he and Amy got married. Although, according to Brian, he said that they went to Thailand, seeing it in the story Big Bang. Another thing is that the Silurians were previously seen to have dinosaurs, using one to guard their base in Manly Moor. You see that in the TV story Doctor Who and the Silurians, which is third Doctor John Portwee. Another thing is that the Doctor accuses Brian of boarding the TARDIS via Transmet. That's linked to TV story Bad Wolf. Another thing is that the Doctor tells Rory that the TARDIS isn't A taxi service. The Fifth Doctor who told Edric the same thing when he wanted to go back to Azarius in the TV story Earthshock. The 11th Doctor also said this to River Song in TV story Time of Angels. Another thing is that the 10th Doctor previously met another Brian Williams in the scene audio story Snow Globe 7. The 8th Doctor, Paul McGann, previously expressed an enthusiasm for dinosaurs. You see it in audio story The Resurrection of Mars. Another thing is that at later points in time, humans would also twice use an ark to preserve Earth life as the planet faced cataclysms. See that in the TV story The Ark and the Ark in Space. Next thing is that when jumping on the Triceratops, the Doctor yells, Geronimo! We see it also in the TV story End of Time, The Big Bang et al. Um, the Doctor has previously received messages through his psychic paper. That is also TV stories New Earth, Silence in the Library, 11th Hour, and Night Terrors. Another thing is the Doctor is once again quite pleased that he gets to say, Take us to your leader. See the TV story Aliens of London, A Voice of the Damned. Another thing is that the Doctor opens the TARDIS doors in space so Brian can get a good view of Earth. There's also some thing in TV story The Runaway Bride and The Beast Below. Another thing is that Amy is already familiar with Silurians and their name Homo reptilia. That is the story The Hungry Earth, called Blood, and a good man goes to war. Another thing is that according to the IV system, the Doctor doesn't exist. The Doctor had been erasing any evidence of his existence from database throughout time and space in his effort to return to the shadows. There's a reference, there's a link to Angels Take Manhattan. Another thing is that a country was previously used to describe the size of something. See it in TV story Time Crash. Third Doctor, John Pertwee, took great care to avoid the harming or slaying of dinosaurs in 1970s, a trait that remained with his successors herein. Also, yeah, that is with the invasion of the dinosaurs. The approach of the moon did not actually cause the extinction of life that the Silurians had anticipated, although they were previously known to have believed that it would. Also, a link to the TV story Doctor Who and Silurians. And last thing is that the Fifth Doctor witnessed that actually caused the extinction of the dinosaurs. And we see that in the TV story Earthshock. And then, my friends, that is all I have to say about this story, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, with the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith. Okay, some commercial. If you one of the reasons this channel is called Ren Entertainment Channel is that because we have no guests or different guests. It depends on what to join me in a live stream or panel. So if you want to join me in a live stream or panel, feel free to contact me via Discord or YouTube, and we'll look what is possible. You can put your comment under a video, one of the YouTube videos, to contact me, or you can send me a message. Discord server is called Random Entertainment Channel, tag Doctor Who. So you are invited to join me in a live stream or panel on my channel. But you can also invite me for your live stream or on your channel. So feel free to contact me also for that. I'm available to contribute to other YouTube channels. So you can invite me for your on your channel, on your live stream and panel. And yes, so very open. Dus I invite you for the live panels on my channel, and you are feel free to invite me for your live stream or panel. Because yeah, I'm a big fan of Doctor Who, and I want to talk about Doctor Who. And so, cheers, mate, and have lots of fun. Your host, Enigmatic Joker. That's my name. So, see you all next time. Have a nice day. Bye bye.